Valdez. So first off, welcome. Thank you all for helping me and participating in our meeting. This presentation is going to be on professional learning communities, and thankfully our school has been a professional learning community for many years. I'm not sure how long we've been doing this. Do y'all remember?
PLC.
Since we opened, no?
Was it officially since we opened? So that means we're going on 10 years. We will go through really just the purpose. We're going to go through a few things. I have the agenda here for y'all. Go through some data. But we're not here to reinvent the wheel. We're here to maybe focus on some specific ways to be able to help each other. I know that we don't get to meet as an AP community like at all. And so it's something that I did bring up to Mrs. Mata, and especially with our U.S. history teachers, I specifically asked that we give them time. You know, they're the only content that has both AP and EOC. And that's a really big challenge for them. And so from there, let's see. I've actually learned a whole lot about professional learning communities with my readings and my homework. And Dufour is kind of the guy. His quote, "Instruction students receive from their classroom teacher is one of the most important variables in determining how much they will achieve." What we'll focus on is instructional strategy. You know, the research says that when we improve in our strategy, the students will also improve in their learning. We know that there's different variables to that as well, but always working on ourselves for that continuous improvement and to get better. All right. So looking at our data, I mean, we have done, this is from like our 2013, I think we've done phenomenal. Considering, you know, being a brand new school, coming together, getting our AP students in just like in the vibe that this is serious. You know, we're not in this class to, you know, do nothing. We are working, we are challenging our students through our practice exams, through our tutoring sessions, and of course through our curriculum and instruction. When we look at these scores, we look at freshman year, they take human geography. Scores have been really good. And what I want to focus on also when we go through our collaborative session is how we can support each other vertically. From Mr. De La Rosa, who teaches them at the 9th grade level, to us here, U.S. History, World History. Now we are unique in that our school mixes 10th and 11th grade in there, and so it just depends which one they get first. But if U.S. History and World History can collaborate and support each other, our test being the exact same thing, we can move up from there. Yeah. As they move into their senior year, we can see that participation is lower, and we're hoping to increase that by creating that foundation. And if we can create that foundation to support them, that they'll feel more motivated to take these tests their senior year. All right, so what is the official definition of a PLC? The PLC concept represents an ongoing process in which educators work collaboratively in reoccurring cycles of collective inquiry and action research to achieve better results for the students they serve. Now I want to ask, what would y'all say is collective inquiry? Big words.
Collectively, like a whole, right?
As a whole?
The group.
And then we put inquiry in there?
We ask them questions, feed off of each other.
Perfect. And that's exactly what we should be doing in our sessions. We should feed off of each other. Ask the questions that are going to not only help us, but like how do we help the students at that. And so sometimes I know that a PLC, when we say we have PLCs at 8:15 to 8:45, and a PLC is not a meeting. You know, it's a community. It's supposed to be an ongoing thing that we work together towards the goal that we set at the beginning of the year. Because we all do our goals, right, with our T-test, but also just personal goals. You know, last year was a hard year for all of us. Looking at our scores, they don't represent, you know, the teaching, right, that we have here, and of course the students. We had a very unique situation. All right, so in collaboration, these are the 4 things that we should be, I guess, working on when we think of our PLC. And so if we can get into our partners, right? We have partners, we're one group of 3. And with each other, I'm going to give about, let's say, 5 minutes. And if you want to maybe jot down some answers, we'll go through them together. But this is really what it is. Well, the first one is, what is it we want our students to know? As an AP group, what do we want them to know? How will we know if they are learning? How will we respond when individual students do not learn? And how will we enrich and extend the learning for students who are proficient? And so this is at the end, right? We always know there's that certain group of students that they get it right away.
Yes.
And so we still need to enhance their learning. Right, so let me see what time it is. We can do 5 minutes. My phone. So it is 10:36. I'm going to put my timer set for 5 minutes, guys. So let's collaborate and answer our 4 questions.
If it doesn't follow the rubric, it gets
And then of course, the strategies.
Get used ready for your class.
The historical.
And they come to my class and it's
They're
reading and a
And,
sentence.
you know, that can be spiraled throughout.
Test format, going in, will help
I
them
think my
do
kids
well.
will use this
You have to be prepared.
And for my kids,
This one,
once they get over this, it's still those multiple choice questions. I think it's
what
the
performance
whole.
measures should they try to achieve? So it's to
How will we know how they are
Questions can be a little bit wordy, a little intense, and that's where they're
what
like,
are
well,
the
this is what
scoring methods?
you do, just let them see what it says. So this one, I'm big thing for my kids is
Does your test have
And then I
some
like hard expert, I feel like I get relaxed now. And you go straight into the content and go over the rubric. Like here, and I'm like, I don't know what
The
it
logic will follow your eye.
Those words, right, those action words, like,
For the multiple choice, they struggle there
Because
because
they need,
it's
when
not
they
who
need
was
this.
the 13th president. They'll have a quote by, I don't know who the 13th president is. The or somebody, and they'll say, you know, what led to him signing the compromise of
You're answering
1950
too?
or something.
No, it's
And they'll
not.
have to know what was going on, and it's not directly in the stimulus, they have to already know
The
it.
GDP.
So they struggle with
How will we
multiple
know
choice.
if you're gonna?
like consistent, like,
I guess
like,
it's- I mean, the right thing to say.
Checking for
check for
Formative
with
assessments
whiteboards.
and,
Do you all use the AP Classroom?
Okay.
Do you use it?
I use it more for like the sample questions that they provide. I don't assign work in it.
I assign only the quizzes, but not like their own quizzes, like I make my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I do it too.
Because we found that when we were doing progress checks,
Progress on
the answers are online. They already can find
Yeah,
it.
so that's why we really need like a system like what we used in benchmarking,
Like a lockdown.
a lockdown browser, because we're having them option, you know.
On the thing, we can do it, but,
In the way that.
Yeah, but
Yeah, leave it.
and that's the thing, not all the kids have that, so.
Or like use it
Well,
on
we
their phone
also
and
look
do
at
it.
the,
Yeah.
We do like for the retests, we print them. We'll use them to print them.
Choice and short answer.
It kind of defeats the thing of wanting to keep it online, right, so they do it on their own, but, I mean, trying to keep it as honest, right, the integrity of the test.
Well, not only that, so
Still
like
using
data
it.
can be valid.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting them all right, do we really know it then?
Yeah, you will look at it, like,
Question it.
the student got 100 on
I guess.
the AP or progress check, and then
Make it
50 on the test, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different format, and so maybe
But definitely.
offer them things like videos or some instructional support. Reteaching, tutoring.
I don't do it.
I take it back.
Maybe try to get.
About a minute and a half.
Okay, how,
How will we respond?
Because yours had like essays they have to write.
Maybe
Different response, but it's
differentiate.
graphing and
Instruction, right?
explaining.
Differentiation.
Because in my exam,
Yeah,
there's
very
like
nice.
complexity, with the uniform 40 are very difficult to get. And I tell my kids, don't worry about that one. But if we have students, if I have students that are doing really well and have already mastered that, we would probably try to get them to get that elusive complexity point.
I don't know. We know what we need. Differentiation, provide,
The videos that they can watch to kind of enhance the things that they are doing. To give more details.
staff writing,
Explanation to concepts.
Provide
We find ways that they can apply these things to like
like
maybe
videos.
real world
Have other
scenarios.
teachers teaching the graphing.
Introductory.
Other,
High.
Almost they offer like extension activities.
like
Writer.
visual.
that man is genius.
Yeah.
My favorite for the writing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't also like to think
I have no shame, I have no shame.
So that's why we're teachers, we're keeping, like, we're keep on learning.
Oh, no,
other social studies.
I tell them, I was like, y'all understand?
You understand this?
I don't think that's right.
I teach history, not grammar.
You don't ask me why this is the answer. I'm telling you right now, it's on the AP test, it's the answer.
That answer he said so, right?
All right, here we go, guys, time. Awesome. I had a lot of really good things, guys. I think when you think of these types of questions, we don't always get to actually think about it, especially with our peers, right? To have discussion in these dialogues, right? So just to kind of go through them really quickly, what is it we want our students to know? Ms. Charles, what did y'all talk about?
One issue is the writing. So some of our students are beautiful writers in the English department, right?
Yeah.
But again, our tests, our writing follows a rubric. And so we have to tell the kids, this is what they expect
Yeah.
from you. Not necessarily more is better.
Yeah, no
So-
fluff.
Mhm.
No fun.
To the point, yeah, get to the point.
Like that. What did y'all talk about, Mr. Quiros?
We're talking about like what they need to know. Of course, is content knowledge. They need to really know the test structure. Just going in knowing what to expect will help them do better alone. Like how the test is formatted.
Absolutely.
Seeing the kids do graph and show.
starts
at 1200,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And
sorry?
then the
The
follow-up
exam starts at
questions,
1200.
Going in, how many points they're working.
You don't get a choice, whatever they get
You guys
in,
can
but
take posters
for the
like
longest
these.
say,
there's always yeah, there's always comparing
longest say,
non-required
they
kids
get
to
3
required
choices.
kids.
And they have to choose.
They really know those in and out.
And
And then they present you with
I didn't know that. Yeah, they have 3
You
options.
probably did
And
study.
it's from
No,
the
no,
3
it's
different
different.
time periods, so whichever one is stronger in. So that's, they'll do better.
And then the essay
But
part is
the
just long.
DBQ, it's 1, and you know it or
It
you
involves,
don't.
it can involve the student's
And
ideology
usually it's-
and
I'm stronger with the
side.
Maybe more than 5 years, 3 of them
So a
have
lot
been
of
on
my
the
students,
progressive.
because
The
That's
last year,
what I'm
because
trying
it
to
was
do.
a weird
I
year,
concur.
and there were different
yes.
versions.
when they choose,
I think there were 6
That's gonna be
different
number 2
questions,
questions.
3 of them were about the
Yeah.
president. One is about like the American Revolution or
Yeah,
something.
we know this trends in ours too, like, for sure, I know that's the Adler model.
I do presidents, yeah.
Did I get that wrong? Oh, why you getting,
Yeah.
And then this is,
Cleveland or
And I
Garfield.
know our history is very similar to the US.
Sources.
Probably
That's a really good class. Students can learn a lot in it.
Perfect.
That can apply to the real world.
I didn't even look at government.
I'm hoping that this thing kept recording.
All right,
Alright.
Especially what's going on.
So
How
if
it
we have to do
affects
is.
markets. Oh.
Me too.
It didn't record?
It was recording, but it said, like it was dark, like it kind of went to sleep, but I just pressed something and I was like, hopefully it kept going, but if not, take 2. I'm like, we've had practice. And luckily, we have our afternoon, and I can pull you out. But I guess we can start wrapping it up, guys, and let's talk just really quickly about, and share what we've learned. I think that's, I don't know how many of y'all had gone through the other tests. This was the first time I had done it. I knew that U.S. history was the same as world, but I hadn't looked at geographies or any of the other ones. So let me see, Ms. Puente, what did you notice, or what discussions did y'all have on?
So we did notice that US and world are more likely aligned, but Human Geo, which the kids start off freshman year, aligns with the AP Government and macro that they get the senior year. So the tasks are doing basically the same thing.
Okay. That's exactly right. So then we should be collaborating more, right, on how to support one another. And again, just depending on who has them first, but if we're using the similar strategies, something we've incorporated a lot more this year is the DBQ charts. And it'd be really cool if we could get together to go over that one.
Yeah.
And that's something we pick apart our DBQs
Yes.
and introduce it and get them used to just what is it they're supposed to be looking for. You know, a lot of our thesis writing analyzes the documents, the strategies to group them. And I know grouping isn't necessarily a point anymore, right? They don't require it, but of course,
It helps, it makes it easy.
how are you going to write an essay, right, without knowing where to put those
Yeah.
documents together? So I think that would be a really good strategy for us to share soon when we can. Let's see. Everybody's going back, let's see, Ms. Charles, what did y'all talk about?
Well, again, I've noticed the similarities, but because it's been a while since I taught AP Human Geo, probably over 12 years. The government, I went to the AP training, you know, that kind of thing. But, with the world and US, again, you've got those documents that you synthesize in your writing. For ours, it's building upon. So each question on the essay or FRQ starts with something basic that they can get from data, right? And then, okay, apply this concept to that. And so they're just, as the question progresses in that FRQ, then the difficulty progresses as well. So,
That's tough.
and our writing, I know for mine, it's typically a graph, some calculations, and then explain what happened, right? Because of this graph or the calculations that they did. So I'm assuming government is also the same thing where they get a chance to compare something that is given to something that is not given to them. So they have an opportunity to, oh, I know this case, let me apply it to what they're asking of me.
What's that point that we have to do, Fran?
Complexity.
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 Okay. So it's I know for us it's a lot of let's teach them again how our writing's a little bit different. And it's also very necessary for them to label as they go on answering part A, part B. 'Cause sometimes the kids just want to
You're
write and they forget that, you know what, we're looking, because we have follow a rubric, we're looking for, did you answer it here? Because you may think you've answered it here.
No, don't.
Right.
I tell them that too. I was like, they want to write forever. I'm like, get to the
No.
point. Get to the point. Awesome. Let me see. What similarities y'all find in y'all's, or the different tests, Mr. De La Rosa?
There were a lot. So, for example, in the 9th grade course, you'll see that in the multiple choice section, there is a certain percentage of questions that are stimulus-based questions, and that word stimulus is something that the students are going to encounter in all of their subject areas. And then specifically, it says that the stimulus is going to be divided between quantitative and qualitative sources, which is a really big term that's used in government and economics. And so the way that the data is presented, whether it's in numbers or whether it's in, like a description or, and so of course the writing. So the foundation of academic writing has to be established in the 9th grade course because the academic writing is going to continue in each of the other years. And so the verbs that are used are very similar, like describe, identify, and explain. Being able to extract information from stimulus, from multiple stimulus, are things that they're learning in the 9th grade course that support the knowledge that they're going to have to perform in the courses as they continue. And so, of course, just understanding geographic awareness is essential for understanding eras in world history or U.S. history. So being able to identify locations on a map, right, some skills that they need to perform in the 9th grade supports the things that they do in the other classes as they continue. Of course, just like others have said, the test format is different for 9th grade. It's similar for 10th and 11th, and then it kind of returns back to a simplicity in the 12th grade courses. And so I guess what we're suggesting is maybe that could be a motivating factor for students in 12th grade to take the test because it's not as difficult, or maybe they hit a roadblock or an obstacle in U.S. history and world history, so they maybe are not as motivated to take the test their 12th grade year, but the test is formatted a little bit different. It might be a little bit easier for them. But then I guess also just considering they've never had to take a time test before, and so in the 9th grade year, that's the big adjustment that they're having to encounter is thinking about answering multiple choice questions at a rate of a question per minute,
Yeah.
and then being able to respond to multiple writing assessments in a short amount of time. And so, of course, we also think about making sure that their writing is specific and academic so that it answers the question directly. And in 9th grade, we also think about answering the question in the same order and identifying the parts of the question that they're answering in the exact format of the question. So the format of the question mirrors their response.
Yes.
So part A, part B, B, right? And so I guess this is also supported by the other classes as well. And so, yeah, there's a lot of reason to collaborate or think about how our classes support each other.
Yes, and I think also to go back to why, the reasons why they dropped from taking the exam senior year were semester courses.
Yes.
So a lot of them are afraid, I haven't had it since,
Yeah, since
first
last
semester, I'm not comfortable with it. And I think also a lot of them are trying to get that AP scholar status, and so they figure that's gonna hurt.
If they don't have.
Yeah, there was a calculation about,
Right.
wanting to keep a certain average for
Right.
their test scores and,
I see that, this is where we can like think about going forward. How can we, I guess plan specifically, my last one. How can we plan specifically to enhance the writing? I really like what Mr. also was just saying, how we have to practice writing multiple things in a timed, manner. Whereas we have, even if it's short, like you're not gonna write the whole thing, but 5 minutes for this, stop, maybe 10 minutes for this one, and them to feel that pressure is so important. When we were talking in the library, Ms. Puente and I were talking about going through a full test and why it's important to do a practice test with them, making time to come in on a Saturday at least once, so have them get through it. Because if the first time that they go through it is the real one, it's exhausting, right? It's really, really tiring. And so these are just some of the things that I saw on it, but I think that the conversations we've had are so helpful when you think of how similar they are and where we are and what we can go back to and reference, from freshman to sophomore, junior, senior year. My proposal in my scheduling of PLCs for AP would be that we would meet once a month, right? Just to kind of say where we are, bring it together. Of course, more time is better, but it's something that we usually don't have. And so it's something that would enhance us. I think that AP, especially with our new superintendent's plan to increase AP participation and scores, that it needs to be a conversation, and we should, working together, we can not just collaborate but advocate for the AP classes. Our U.S. history teachers are awesome that they do 2 different curriculums in that, and then still, perform, right? The kids have done really well. So being able to support them, I think, would be even more beneficial because they do have that on their plate. But just concluding our meeting, I want to say thank you all to everybody. I think that you all, like we said, had really good conversations about our AP program and continue to work together, right? I think if we can maybe set aside, I know our meetings haven't been as consistent, but even meeting one more time, before the end, the test, and before we get into our testing phase where nobody has time for much, but trying to see how we help each other and then plan it for next year, incorporating at least one time having an AP meeting. All right, thank you all. Yay. Let's see if it worked. Please.